Few entities have struck more terror to the hearts of cats than Gordon Shunway, a.k.a. Alien Lifeform, a.k.a. ALF.
What exactly are we dealing with here?
Old and busted, new hotness.
And what could that possibly be?
Alien.
They do exist.
Too bad about watching the X-Files too bad.
It is possible.
Welcome to Alien Autopsy. I'm your host, Hayden, and today's episode is the first episode, and isn't that special, you know? Isn't that special? I try to do impressions, but I'm not very good at them. That was the church lady, if you were keeping track at home. My guest today is a braggart, funny man, slender man, was inspired by him. His name is Richard, and he's my good friend. And welcome to the show, Richard. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
So here at Alien Autopsy, we like to do deep dives into people's favorite aliens. And this week's, we're talking about ALF. There's no getting around it. We're doing ALF. We're starting off strong. Starting off with we have to. We do have to. If you're wondering why I'm looking over here, this is where I can monitor the feed of the show. This is Inside Baseball. Do I get into Inside Baseball? If I want to look at Rich, I have to look over here.
I kind of have the same thing with my notes on this thing, so you're fine.
Okay. So we're just all over the place.
Yeah.
And of course, with a little post-production magic, you won't even know that this happened at all. This might be like an outtake. Imagine we have outtakes.
They also have like AI now where it changes where you look, right? So you can just edit it after, I think.
Don't promise me things that don't exist.
I'm
that
pretty
sounds
sure.
Too good to be true.
I'm pretty sure.
So we're talking about ALF. Tell me, you picked ALF. Why ALF? Where did you first encounter this alien?
I actually think I forgot why. I picked ALF because as a kid I would watch ALF all the time, and I think it was probably because I thought he was a Muppet maybe, and that would have made sense. But he's not a Muppet, and he's very different. And we had, because also ALF was huge when we were kids, right? Like they had the TV show, but then there was like 2 different cartoons. And ALF would show up in different shows too. Like he'd be on Hollywood Squares or whatever. And he was just like a pop culture.
I know he was referenced on the Golden Girls, and and ALF references the Golden Girls too.
Of course.
So they're kind of like cross-pollination of 1980s comedy. So how old were you when you think you first encountered ALF?
Probably like 5, 6 maybe. Right?
Oh, wow,
I was pretty young.
I didn't get into ALF until I was way later, like way older. Like I was like in university, and I was looking for something ironic to like, and like ALF was the perfect mix of like nostalgia and like kind of like he's got that like that attitude that I like to shorten things. So attitude becomes tude. And he's got it in spades.
Well, of course, he's always wearing Hawaiian shirts, and he's like a chill, sarcastic dude.
He does eat cats though, but that's
we definitely need to get into that.
What makes ALF different from other sitcom aliens?
What other
I guess
sitcom
it's just
alien?
him and Roger from Family for American Dad, right?
Right. Oh, right. That'll be a good episode too. I think ALF was just such a weird show at the time too. Like there wasn't other show. I mean, I'm sure there was other shows like that because puppets were a thing. But also, I don't know. It was just like, it was kind of like funny and sarcastic, and ALF was just his own thing. It was so, I don't know. It was also like, there was no other shows that were like that, I guess. It was on Monday nights, and it was like, I don't know. It was just so weird. And it was also, why did he eat cats? Like they came up with this whole backstory, being from Melmac, being a Melmacian, I believe they're called.
Yeah.
And can we swear and stuff on this?
I'll probably blurp it out. Is that the technical term, blurp?
I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I would say that ALF right? Like he gives off that vibe.
He does. He definitely more than the what's his name? Max Wright, the dad. I can't remember his character's name.
Yeah. That
Willie
guy
Willie Tanner.
There's some darkness there, right?
The character or the actor?
The actor.
I think I thought he was like
He's dead now.
Is he dead?
Yep.
Okay. Well, then I don't want to speak ill of him.
No, that's okay. I think. He was also on Friends.
I heard some shit about him. That came up in my research. I remember reading about it as like the National Enquirer. There was a whole thing, but I don't really want to get into that. That's not really important.
No, it's darkness.
It's nice knowing that it's there and that we could talk about it, but we don't have to. We're not that kind of show.
We'll save it for people to do some research.
Yeah,
sure, and then
you
feel
have
really
pleasant
sad.
surprises down the way. What the f*** am I standing on? The is this?
So what?
It's a shirt. There was a shirt on the ground, and it's covered in cat hair.
I like your Starfleet shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Starfleet,
Established.
Baby. Yeah.
What does it
Knock
say?
off.
Established.
2258.
2258 sold. That's nice.
I don't know what year this is. This is MMC 2150. This one. 5011. I don't know. I'm not. You know what? My Roman numerals.
No, me
I
neither.
love them, but they're not my forte. I did
I only
study
get to
Latin
so
in high school.
far.
Okay, where am I?
Also, I know we were talking about Elf before. I don't want to get, or about the Golden Girls before, but the Golden Girls also have a shared universe with all the other shows that were on ABC at that time. So Elf is a part of all that too. But Elf was NBC. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't think they're a shared universe. I think they exist in each other's universes as shows.
Right. Oh, so this is also an interesting part about Elf, is that Elf is not like Elf is an actor on the show Elf, or Gordon, whatever his name is.
Gordon Shumway.
Yes, he's an actor on Elf, and it's kind of like the stories about what happened when he first got here.
Oh.
So it's like
Interesting.
a meta thing. So that's why when Elf's on other stuff, he's an actor. Do you know what I mean?
Do you have a favorite catchphrase or one-liner?
No. Does anybody? Do you?
No. Hey, what are you typing?
Elf catchphrases.
Elf catchphrases? Hey, kill me. I think that's one of them.
That would be one. I hate musicals. Justice will not rest. No.
Justice will not rest. Do you think
He's
Al's
very
humor
much-
has aged well? Like, do you think it holds up? A lot of shows, Golden Girls really does. Alf is like hit or miss.
1,000% Golden Girls does. Elf, I don't think Elf was ever going to be like Golden Girls won Emmys and stuff like that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like Elf didn't win Emmys. Elf won like Fuzzies or maybe something. Also, I wonder if it was
Fuzzy.
big in the furry community.
Oh my God, huge.
Huge in the furry community.
And the mole community.
No, Elf doesn't hold up. I don't even think the people like who worked on it. Apparently, the guy, the dad, which we will not get into, when he left the show, like when they finished taping the last episode, which was also a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
He left and it was like he never looked back. He was like,
I have a
drove
funny
off
story
and
about
never
him.
thought-
We'll get into that in a little bit.
Okay,
He
good.
was an interesting character, but like, yeah. So okay, here's I'm just gonna go through these questions. I got questions prepared.
Yep.
I like
We're
to
ready.
prepare. I'm a prepared guy. So if Alpha were beat today, what modern twist would you give it? Huh? That's a pretty good question, huh?
That is
Yeah.
a really good question.
Keep you on your toes.
Yeah, I think he would have to move into a very different household. Like you don't want like the white family. You want like Elf to be like experiencing a completely different culture. But are we doing it like it's a reboot, or is it just Elf moving in with another family?
I think it would be the same Alf, new family, and because like he can't really because he's the last of his kind, right?
Well, apparently there are other survivors.
Oh, see, I haven't seen every episode of Alf.
I don't think they ever show up on the show, but
you
apparently
don't?
there's references to them. Like his girlfriend Rhonda, I think she did survive somehow.
I remember Rod.
She was
I
on the
kind of like
cartoon.
was like preparing for this episode. I was kind of like watching Alf. Like I had like the Twitch channel like going because it just plays 24 hours a day. It just plays Alf, like all Alf. This is great.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
when
it's
first I know,
Seinfeld's mom is also Seinfeld's mom is the neighbor. Yeah. That's why. That's when I knew her when I started watching Seinfeld. I was like, she's from Elf.
he said, "Did you do a spit take?" Like, that's
Well,
Alf's
she did.
neighbor. And Seinfeld,
She's
your
bad.
mom was like, "What the?" All right.
Answer the question about what would you want Elf to be?
Oh, I don't care.
I think
I
you
would-
also need. I think you got to go older, like
Mhm.
less about kids, and maybe more about like putting him in like adult situations with like drugs, sex, and stuff like that. Like push the boundaries with Elf. Is that fair?
All right, now it's time for the skinny. Alf premiered September 22nd, 1986, and ran for 4 seasons through to March 24th, 1990. It was co-created by writer and director Tom Patchett, along with puppeteer and actor Paul Fusco, which is also the last name of a girl I did. You know, I don't want to get into that, but weird. It is like coincidences. They just happen. They just happen. Alf's, here's a little tidbit I found on Wikipedia. Alf's voice was originally influenced by Rolf from the Muppets.
When I was a puppy, I used to enjoy reading about Winnie the Pooh. He's a bear, like Fozzie Bear, but, well, not very much like Fozzie Bear.
But Fusco found that voice was too hard on his vocal cords. Isn't that interesting?
What's going on up there?
Nothing. Just screaming.
That is interesting. His voice sounds different also in the first episode.
Yeah, that's why, because he's trying going for that Ralph. It was kind of like the Homer, like Dan Castellaneta.
Yeah, but his voice is weird in the first season of The Simpsons.
Yeah, it's like Homer's, because he's doing an impression of, what's his name? The guy
like Burt
from
Lancaster or something like that?
No, it's the guy from Angry Old Men.
Oh, Walter Matthau.
Walter Matthau.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah,
sounds
you're
a lot
right.
like Walter Matthau in those first seasons.
Yes, and he does a very similar voice when he played the genie in the Aladdin cartoon and in the second Aladdin movie.
Oh, he brought Robin Williams in return?
Robin Williams didn't come. This is off topic. Robin Williams didn't come back for Aladdin 2, but he did come back for Aladdin 3, which is not good.
I don't remember Aladdin 3.
Prince of Thieves.
All right, so apparently things were very tense between Max Wright, the actor who played the dad, and Alf, who was jealous of being second fiddle to the puppet who got all the good lines. And apparently Artie Lang claimed that Max became so crazy and attacked the puppet, like he had to be pulled off, like he was like strangling him.
Strangling him. That's amazing. I can see that. The whole set had to be built like on different levels too, right? So it was like so expensive. So that was what I heard was like one of the reasons why the show got canceled. It was just like it tanked so bad. I think it was like number 39 in the last, which I'm sure is still probably like 70 million viewers.
Yeah, back in 1980, when there was only 3 channels, like it's pretty easy to get big numbers. Now it's just like you're like thankful you crack 1 million.
Yeah.
Okay, so Alf is short for we already discussed. His name's Gordon Shumway on his home planet. I don't know why do they call him Alf. Like I know why. I mean, like because it's alien life form. But I mean, like why wouldn't they call him Gordon? Isn't that like that's like calling my cat?
I think that really says something to their open minds, and that they just gave him their own name, and that's actually kind of, you know what I mean?
Kind of fucked up. Very colonial.
Kind of yeah, big surprise, Max.
Yeah.
Freak.
What a fucking freak.
He's a freak.
So he comes. We talked about it earlier. You mentioned it. He comes from the planet Melmac, a world known for its green skies and pink grass.
Yes.
And exploded due to apparently nuclear catastrophe. Is that correct?
Yes, and Alf was a janitor, I believe. There,
was he really a janitor?
I think so. Part of the what did it say? The orbit guard, but I think it was a ceremonial position. But I think he was
master of the custodial arts.
I think so.
It's from Half Baked. I myself am a master of the custodial arts, or a janitor if you want to be a dick about it.
I haven't watched that in a bit too.
So let's talk about what Alf looks like. Alf is like, he's got the long nose, he's got the cat ears, got the mole.
He's got like the Cindy Crawford mole, yeah. Kind of maybe sexy, mysterious.
Mm-hmm. 8 stomach, so he's got a big appetite. Do you think it's weird that he kind of looks like a cat and he eats cats? That like does that speak to the dietary like quirkiness of the Melmacians? Did they say that correctly? Melmacian?
I think you did. I don't think it's weird that he kind of looks like cats, but I guess we don't look like anything we really eat. So maybe.
And so when he was puppeted by 3 people, right? Like it was Paul Fusco on like the mouth and right arm, and then a woman whose name I can't remember. God, this is bad. Maybe I'll just edit that in. I'll sprinkle it in post.
Someone did it with a computer, right? Like from far away. It was remote control.
Someone did the other arm. And then someone did like the remote control hand, the face, like the eyes and or whatever.
It took a village to make Alf.
Yeah,
probably the same amount of people that Jabba the Hutt had.
No, Jabba the Hutt had how many people did that have? I think I had 5 people, didn't it?
Oh, okay.
I remember there's like one guy in the tail.
That's what I remember too. That's why I thought it was 3 people maybe. One just laying there like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, Elf, and then but also Elf has, I feel like, really nice eyelashes. His hair. I remember thinking, I was like, why does his hair look like that? And then if you watch the cartoon, you see they all have different hair. Like the mom has like a lady's haircut.
Wait, what planet was the cartoon set on?
Melmac. It was like a Tales before. There was 2 cartoons.
What?
Yeah. And his car was kind of like, the neutrinos from Ninja Turtles?
Mm-hmm.
Like their cars, he drove a car like that.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is kind of cool. And then there was another cartoon where it's, what do you call, like him doing different like adventures, but kind of like taking like classic. Definitely, I'm sure because Muppet Babies would do that they did something like that with this.
What do you think is Alf's biggest vulnerability?
Wow.
Like his weaknesses? Let's get into it. Let's dive deep. We're diving deep here, man. We're deep dive.
What is Alf's vulnerability?
Kryptonite?
He doesn't take anything serious.
That's true.
Everything's a joke to him.
Yeah.
Is that my vulnerability too?
That's mine as well. It's more of a curse.
Maybe that's why we speak to, that's why Elf speaks to us.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if Alf speaks to me. More like quiet, like whispers to me while I sleep.
And his Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah. I love Hawaiian shirts, man. I'm a big Hawaiian shirt guy. I got a bunch
I
of
can
them.
tell. Good.
What do you mean you can tell?
You have that energy.
Hawaiian
The
shirt
elf
energy.
energy. The elf energy.
Alf, not elf.
Elf. It's
Alf.
hard to say.
Alf.
Alf.
Alf. Not elf. Alf.
Elf.
Alf.
Elf.
What's his most underrated skill?
I mean, he's a people person, but you know, he can't really be around people very much.
He can't be around any people other than the family.
Here's a question for you. Sorry to turn the tables.
Ooh,
If
I like
you
tables.
found Elf in your backyard or he crashed into your house, what would you keep him a secret?
I wouldn't open the door. I would just like wait for him to leave.
Yeah, me too.
And then I would just like look out through the curtains and be like, is he gone?
But he would probably just keep on knocking on your door. And he'd be talking like a regular person, so you might open it.
Right. Sure. Why do they speak English?
He's very good. He just learns languages really quick.
Oh, I thought it was the same language.
No.
It wasn't a coincidence like that?
No. That would maybe make more sense. Though the cartoon is obviously in English, but I guess it was dubbed.
Would Alf survive in today's world where social media would immediately expose him?
No. I don't think Alf would have survived that, really. They make a reference to E.T. on the first episode, too, which I thought was funny.
So Alf premiered in 1986, and it was a cultural phenomenon, right? Like, it was expensive, but it was really popular at the beginning.
Yes, very, very popular.
Do you want to talk about, you know, the Alf craze? Like, how you were like, what, 5, 6?
Yeah, I mean, for what I can remember, like Burger King had a thing where you could get like Elf stuffed animals. I saw this like actually picture online of someone with like a fur coat made of all different Elf stuffed animals, which was pretty amazing. And Elf was everywhere. He was on mailboxes. The stuffed animal that I had, that was like, they sold millions and millions of those. Like, it was insane. I wouldn't say he was as big as the Muppets, but people had a thing for little furry things at that time. So yeah, he was everywhere. Like I said, he was on Hollywood Squares. I don't know if that was later on or if he was on earlier Hollywood Squares too. I'm sure he was, but he would just show up on weird different things like award shows.
I love Hollywood Squares. Bruce Valanche? Get out of here. The guy's hilarious. Actually, he's not that funny, but he's funny in a way that's not intentionally funny.
But
I like the idea of Bruce Valanche, like this big fat gay guy that just like is like the writer for the Oscars, right?
Yeah.
And then
Bruce
all of a
Valanche.
sudden, it's just like shot into the limelight at Hollywood Squares for no reason.
Yeah. So was he just a writer on there and they threw him on? I love how we just got into Bruce Valanche instead. And I know who Bruce Valanche is.
And everyone at home is going to be like, "Who the f is Bruce Valanche?" I gotta
Nobody
bleep
cares.
that one. I should be writing down when I swear so I know to.
Time code it.
Yeah, time. I don't know if there are time codes. Oh, there is 21, 22. Okay, that's close enough to a time code.
But yeah, Elf was, I feel like it was a phenomenon, right? Like he was everywhere. But I guess you didn't even know that because you weren't around.
I was born in the height of Alf mania, but I don't really have any memories of Alf.
So when you got into Elf, you're watching it and you don't know anything about the Elf mania, as we're calling it.
Yeah.
No, this is all new.
Yeah, this is all new. I kind of knew what Alf was like through cultural osmosis. Like I kind of got a feel like I would recognize. You showed me a picture. I'm like, no, that's Alf. I knew what Alf was, but I didn't really know until I started watching it. And then I've only seen like a little bit. I haven't watched a lot of Alf. I'm not like an Alf crazed lunatic or anything like that.
Yeah.
Although I could very well be after this podcast. Maybe we're brewing the next generation. Someone's going to listen to this. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to reboot Alf.
Alf's brother, Ralph.
Ralph. I love
They
Ralph.
tried to reboot him too. Well, I guess should we get to that later or now?
Let's get into it now. Fuck
Okay.
later.
They tried to do a reboot in 2012, and it was going to happen, and then by 2020, it was all thrown out the window, or 2018.
I was
They
gonna say,
decided it
well,
was
after
worth
6
it.
years, that's a long time to.
Yeah, Sony was trying to make it work. Good luck, Sony.
Sony's clueless. Unless they
are.
want to sponsor this podcast, in which case, welcome Sony.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Was Elf, I guess you might not even know, just kind of like where the Muppets, I feel like, are good and pure and like when they became popular, it was like a good thing. You know what I mean? Because like kids would watch that, adults could watch it, and it was like positive. But like Elf is kind of just like the commercialized shitty version of that.
Yeah.
Is he? Right? Yeah.
I think so. There's something wholesome and pure about, like you said, about the Muppets that kind of puts them into a different echelon of pop culture. Like to me, like the Muppets are like almost untouchable. Like they're so perfect. Like I really think the Muppets are like one of the few pure good things on the planet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're so amazing. And then
maybe
Alf
that's
is
why they
kind of
don't
like,
work anymore, because they're too genuine and too like heartfelt. And are
society be
corrupt.
corrupt. Where do we live in a
Yes.
corrupt society? We live in a society. Oh,
But yeah, Elf was kind of like the not the shitty version, but kind of like the watered down, like, you guys like puppets, here's a puppet, kind of, right? And I'm
Yeah.
sure Paul Fusco would be rolling in his grave. Oh no, he's not dead. But well, I hope he never listens to this.
maybe. Well, what if he does? I don't know. I don't know, but I do know people.
Yeah, we don't.
I could get this to him.
He's probably on X, right?
X going to give it to you. Sorry. Exhibit. Oh wait, no, that's DMX, not Exhibit. X going to give it to
It
you.
doesn't matter.
What was Exhibit's big song? I only know him from Pimp My Ride.
That's all I know him from too.
So what do you think is the weirdest piece of Alf merch you've ever seen?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
Tell me about the Burger King promotion, because it was huge.
Yeah, it was just all little elf stuffed animals. And then it was like that same thing with those Simpsons dolls. Do you remember the Simpsons dolls when we were
No.
kids? Oh, it was the same thing. You'd go and get like a Whopper, and then if you bought a Whopper, you got like a good price for a doll.
I remember you could get those Burger King video games for the Xbox 360 with Sneak Thief or Sneak King.
Oh,
Sneak King, and there was a driving one.
I would say elf slippers. That was a big one, I think, when I was a kid. That was a big
Yeah.
one. People would have elf fetus slippers, an elf chia pad. Things like that. There'd also be a lot of like Ralph, or Elf. Gosh,
I'm sorry I brought up Roll.
it's in my head now. Like dressed as like a rock and roll dude or something. Like what was he doing? I
I
think
see
he played
that.
the saxophone, right?
Like Bill Clinton.
I was gonna say something else weird about Elf, but yeah. Anyway, Elf was weird, and the fact that the dad hated it so much makes me really happy.
Mm-hmm. Almost makes it like more enduring. That guy was weird.
Yes, that
All
guy
right.
was weird.
You ready for fan theories? All right, this first fan theory comes from Europa Loves Jupiter on Reddit. It's very simply titled, Alf is not an alien. Okay.
Go for
So
it.
Alf is not an alien. His real name is Gordon, and the Tanner's eldest child, but he was born a dwarf with facial deformities.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll read like little bits from it. Like his weird behavior was getting too much for them to handle, so they sent him to a mental institution called Melmac to live his own life. And like he escaped and came back to them, and they're like, right, fuck it, we'll just let him live with us. And he looks like an alien because that's how the Tanner see him, and that's how he sees himself.
Okay. And what about the cat thing? Is that why maybe that's why he originally
It's crazy.
went?
He's a crazy guy. He just eats cats.
Just eats cats. He probably killed the family's cat. Not Lucky, whatever one they had before that.
Oh yeah.
And then they're like, we got to get rid of him. We got to send him somewhere else. Yeah, that's not a crazy theory. I guess he doesn't have to be a dwarf though. He could just be a regular person. They just see him that way,
Well, he's pretty small.
I guess.
And in the wide shots, is he played by a dwarf or is he played by do we use the word dwarf?
Little person.
Little person?
I think I don't know.
Was he played by a little person or is it a child?
It's a little person.
You think so? Okay. Oh yeah, because they gotta get around labor laws.
Yeah, exactly.
This fan theory comes from Bigger Gorilla. This one's pretty interesting. because it's really long. I don't want to read it, but the too long didn't read of it, the TLDR, is that the Thundercats' ancestors were abducted and eaten by ALF species and set the stage for the Mumra and the Thundercats to oppose each other.
Well, I wouldn't hate that. I don't.
Crazy crossover.
But like, Elf doesn't seem like he's blowing shit up. The Thundercats would take him out quick.
Maybe that's why he like left Melmac, because he was like a loser and it wasn't like good at blowing shit up.
Do you find that the Thundercats are a little too sexy?
I actually don't really know anything about the Thundercats. I did a little research into them. I know what they are. I know, are they cat people?
Yeah, it's like from like, I guess, I don't know, a cat planet?
Yeah,
They're
Thundera.
cat people. Yeah. Lion-O, that was the main guy maybe?
Right.
I don't know. They had cool
I don't
action figures and they had like a cool base, I remember, but
This is
I don't
before
know
my
about
time.
this.
I was more a Mummies Alive kind of guy. And then in the post, I'll add in the Mummies Alive. This is the third one. This is from Awesome Maniac. This is my favorite. Battle Los Angeles is a movie spinoff of ALF. I'm not even going to read it because it's so stupid. It's just like the number one upvoted comment was zero evidence connecting the two other than they involve aliens. Try r/shitty fan theories.
That's amazing. What?
People
what
are
what
so
is
weird. They're
Battle
so
Los
desperate to
Angeles?
connect things, you know? What? You don't remember
What is-
Battle LA? It was
No.
like with what's his face?
2000,
Aaron Eckhart,
2011? Oh my God, I forgot all about this movie.
You probably cut a piece on it on movie night.
I think I probably did. Shit. There's certain movies that like came out and that just had no impact, eh? And that's one thing we got to say about Elf. He had impact.
Yeah,
He's
impact,
still,
baby.
if Elf showed up on something today, people would go, there's Elf. Like there's no, maybe that's something we should talk about, his iconic like look too, you know?
We've talked
Because
about it. Have we not talked
I
about
know, but you know what I mean? But like the fact that like, it's that idea of like, they always say like, if you see even their profile, you know who it is right away.
it? Yeah,
Elf,
Alfred
right
Hitchcock.
away. Yeah, the perfect example. Bart Simpson, Homer, like you know what I mean? There's certain
Fat guys.
for sure.
Rotunda. All right. We're going to play a game called Marry, Probe, Kill. Alf, Mork, Roger the Alien from American Dad.
I think I wouldn't. I think Robin Williams has got to die, right? Again,
It's pretty annoying.
Mark. It would be too much. I don't have the energy for that. I'm living with this person, right? They got to die. What was the
You
option
could just
for
probe
this
him,
one?
though.
So I have sex with him.
Yeah.
I'll have sex with him. He's very hairy, though. But so is Al.
Al.
And then what was the other? Well,
if you want
sorry.
butthole smooth, you got to go for Roger the Alien. I think there's not a hair on him.
Yeah, but Roger's
And
body is
kinda,
very
he looks
sexy.
like he looks squishy. It's very rumpy.
My issue, I think, with both Alf and Rogers, they're small, so I don't know if they might remind me of a child. Do you know what I mean? So I don't
Right.
think that's happening. So I'm gonna have sex. Wait, I'm probing Robin Williams. And what are the other options?
Marry and kill.
Okay, so yeah. So then I would marry Elf. No, yeah, marry Elf and then kill Roger, I guess.
Okay.
Because Elf would be fun. Elf would be fun. That's why I think maybe that's the appeal. Everyone wants to marry Elf.
And now for my favorite segment, Alien versus Predator. How do we think Alf stacks up against the Predator? I don't think he's lasting longer than I think he's going out first round, you know?
Yeah, very quickly. But he would get a lot of good biting comments in to
Yes.
make maybe.
I thought you were
him.
going a different way with that when you said biting. I thought you were going to go more of like a Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson kind of vibe.
No, I think he would say some really mean things to the Predator where he would be thinking about it later.
Right.
think it would,
Like,
yeah.
oh, that guy that got killed really got to me.
Yeah.
Really
I feel like
grabbed my soul.
that, what do you call, Robot Chicken does like stuff with Elf a lot too. Which would
Oh,
make
really?
sense. I
Because
think
someone
so.
probably has like an Alf action figure. Are they action
there's
figures?
that.
Or are they like? Are they make them themselves?
I actually did a tour of their offices or their studios. So excuse me.
Please tell me, the expert over here.
They usually, what they'll do is they'll take out, like they take them apart and then add wires in them so that they can move. The action figures, some of them already have that, but like NECA made good elf action figures like a few years ago. And they do
you
like
have
those
one?
big Ninja Turtle. I do not, but NECA makes like those all my Ninja Turtle figures.
All your Ninja Turtle figures. You heard it there. More than one. Multiple.
Well, there's
Ninja
like the
Turtle
movie versions, of course. There's the comic book versions, and
Yeah.
then there's the cartoon versions.
Of course.
So yeah, all of them. But yeah, Elf wouldn't be. I mean, it would be great to see maybe Elf with a gun and see how he does. But I think Elf is a lover. He's not a fighter. That's why I want to marry him.
The lover, not a
Yeah.
fighter. Oh, not a fighter. I can't speak words. Words are hard.
Words are hard. But I also feel like, does Elf have sex? Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's get into it.
And what does he probably has like a little thing that pops out, right? Like
He
a
probably has
cat
like
or a dog.
yeah, it pops out. Like it's not visible when you're normal, when you're out and about. But when he's ready to go, when he gets erect, he's a grower, not a shower.
You can see that just by looking at him.
Yeah, because you don't see a penis when
Yeah.
he's in the wide shots.
No,
Those
never.
sweet wide shots.
You just see it hanging around. Imagine that.
That would be disturbing, like Dr. Manhattan and
Exactly.
Watchmen. That's too
If
much
they
dog.
did do a reboot,
Mhm.
you'd have to go raunchy, right? But then it would be kind of more like Ted. But I think that's kind of fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You CGI Alf.
I don't know if you CGI him. I think that there would be some CGI help, right? For
Right.
things of him walking or going other places. But I think you'd kind of have to make it that actually the way to reboot it is that Elf had a popular TV show in the 80s, and now
Right.
this is like Elf, and it's just like Elf.
Oh, I
living a
love
life,
this.
right? And it's just like him trying to do a comeback or something.
Did I tell you I always had an idea for like a Doogie Howser, like someone who played like a childhood doctor or a childhood lawyer. I was a childhood lawyer. Like he played like a lawyer on TV as a kid, like as a baby lawyer, and then grows up to becomes a lawyer. And then that's all. That's as far as I got as the concept. It's not a very good concept.
Well, let's mix it with Elf, and then we got something.
No, we got it. It says Alf was the missing ingredient. We just need to get like some Alf in there. We're good. We're good to go.
Here's a question: could we
Yeah.
write an Elf pitch, write an
Mhm.
Elf pilot,
Right now.
get it to Paul Fusco right now,
Yeah.
and then try to shop it around?
Yeah, let's do it.
Or is
I'm
he
down.
too protect? He's actually very protective of Elf too. I don't know if you read about this stuff, but like that, like on set, they weren't allowed to like call him a puppet. He wasn't allowed to be like left around. Like all the actors had to pretend that like Elf was a real character.
That's why Max Wright tried to strangle him.
Also, have you seen the clip where Elf is like saying all racist stuff?
No, I don't know if I want to see that.
Well, he's just sitting in bed. He's going for it, and he pretends to have Tourette's too. It's very weird.
Where was this
It's
filmed?
It was during the show. It was like a blooper that was just like released in like the early 2000s.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
it's very crazy. And
That's what's his name from The Simpsons? Gabbo.
Yeah, I forgot about
All the kids in Springfield are a bunch of SOBs.
that. That's-
I haven't seen that episode of Simpsons in 30 years, and I ingrained in my brain.
all I can think is Gabbo, Gabbo, Gabbo,
Gabbo, Gabbo, Gabbo. What's Gabbo?
But yeah, it's actually a pretty crazy clip. I watched it last night. Like it's not like he's like it's racist. It's definitely racist.
All right.
But he was like,
the last question we have is sexy close encounters, and we've kind of already covered it. What describe your meet cute with Alf?
is he the Elf the actor or Elf the alien? Like, do you
The
know what I
alien.
mean? Like, because he was an alien who is an actor.
Right.
Like, he's always still from the planet Melmac. It's just that the TV show. So it's like, am I maybe like visiting the set? I'm going back in time and I'm visiting the set of his TV show, and he's kind of showing me around.
Sure. That could
But
work.
yeah, I think I
You
would.
can meet a craft service or something on
Yeah.
set.
Yeah, I think I could see him being very charming,
Yeah.
and he is kind of sexless. So it
I
probably
could
just
see him
be
playing
like,
hard to get. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not trusting of you and your sexual ways. Like I am, Alf. I'm doing my own thing, but I don't need you. Like
No.
I have everything I have right here.
if Elf is living alone on this other planet where there's no mates for him. He's doing fine. He doesn't need us. But do we need him is the question. Yeah.
And how much money to go to the Bone Zone with Alf?
So he's offering me money, or someone else's.
Someone else's.
I was going to do it for free, just for the story, because you're not just screwing him; you're screwing his career, right? And it's like if you're telling people afterwards, like, oh yeah, Elf, I had sex with them. That's a good story. But probably, I don't know what, $10,000, $20,000.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
You could get a lot of stuff for $20,000.
All the Elf merchandise I want. I'm wearing one of those coats with all the elves on it.
I feel like you might not want it afterwards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
My dirty shame. And also that fur would get very matty, right? After.
Oh yeah, for sure. Gross.
Yeah. So that's a whole nother aspect we didn't really think about. The movie Project, like it was a TV movie called Project Elf.
Okay. No, I didn't.
It was like a few years after the TV show ended, they did like a TV movie, and Martin Sheen is in it. And it's like Elf dealing with the government. No.
It's not a spinoff of
pre-West Wing.
West Wing?
Pre-West Wing.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird. And like there's other good actors in it too. But Martin Sheen being the top. And I was going to say something else about that. Nope, I lost it.
Thank you so much for coming on to the show, Rich. Appreciate it. I like to end these things, and I say that like I've ended these things before, but I haven't. But I like to end them with shout-outs. So is there anything that you've seen, read, watched, ate that you want to shout out?
Does it have to be alien related?
No, it does not have to be alien.
No. I've been watching Detroiters, and that's really
Detroiters, great show. Love Detroiters. Yeah,
I never watched it before. I watched like the first episode, couldn't get into it, but I just like went through the first season, and
it helps to watch it after you've seen I Think You Should Leave.
Yeah, I agree, especially because you see a lot of those actors pop up and stuff too.
All of them.
Yeah, it's very well good. But for alien stuff or for things that could be Elf related. No, but Elf did also have a talk show just a few years ago, but they only did 7 episodes.
Where was this talk show? Where can I find it?
I'm sure it's on YouTube.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. And
thank you.
That's going to do it for today, guys. First episode of Alien Podcast. What is it? What's the name of the show? Alien Autopsy Podcast. If you want to get in touch with me, you can email me at alienautopsypod@gmail.com, or you can check us out on socials, twitter.com/ it's not called Twitter, is it?
Nope.
It's called X. X going to give it to you. It's called a callback. We're on all of them at Alien Autopsy Pod. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Imagine I hung up and I never talked to you again.